Oh my god, guys. It's coming!
A whole bunch of turbulence.
Anime openings are a staple in the anime community. There's been a bunch of iconic openings that most people would know, like or the Sagil or Nanimo, and even stuff like Hey! Mostly every anime has them. While I do think having a good song is better than just having good visuals, of course I can appreciate both of them, but having a decent song with the visuals accompanying it can make it a very enjoyable opening. We're gonna talk mostly about the visuals slash animation department. Why does openings sometimes can look very different than the show itself? Why do they put all the budget in the LP? Fucking stupid bitches. The easy answer is the staff. Most of the time you see a very good looking OP, it's outsourced to a different director or studio. Example is most of Slime's OP is outsourced to Ryuma Ebata. We saw Soul Leveling's OP was done by a Korean studio, and Dangers in My Heart's second OP was by Tetsuya Araki's team. Or it cannot be outsourced, like Frieren. Both OPs was directed by the series director himself, Keiichiro Saito. The director sometimes does the compositing slash photography themselves. They usually just color in the storyboard, so it's better for the compositing team to fully understand what the director wanted. But there's one particular director that excels at openings, not just in terms of direction, but his strengths as a compositing artist, and that is Shingo Yamashita. Shingo Yamashita is a notable name when it comes to creating an aesthetically and visually appealing opening. There's a lot of factors on how Yamashita can create such masterpieces, but let's go back before him becoming mainly a director. Back then when he was an animator, he was considered as the first wave of webgen animators, alongside names like Kenichi Katsuna, Ryotomi. Webgen is basically a term where it's an unorthodox way of joining the industry and mainly using digital tablets and stuff. These animators straight up get key animation role, which is not normally how the industry works. Usually your first couple of roles is doing in-betweenings where you draw in between the keyframes. Okay, are you listening? Keyframe. It's good for learning and understanding the fundamentals. Of course, now webgen animators are now some of the biggest names in the industry currently. These three worked on arguably the most influential show when it comes to animation, Jujutsu. You thought. That's one Birdie the Code. Birdie the Code was a very experimental show visually, directed by Ryotomi. On Yamashita's side, he takes very big influence to Norio Matsumoto, so his animation prioritizes movement more rather than the overall polish on the characters, with minimal shading so that's easier and less complex to move those characters. Some of his sequences in Birdie the Code were very iconic, even some animators paying homage to his scene in Jujutsu Kaisen. This is not copying Twitter. Fucking retard. He also got his first chance doing EDs for both Bird Decode season and Shinsekai Yori. He did most of the work, if not all, doing the direction, storyboards, key animation, photography, in-betweenings, etc. This is going to be a recurring theme for his future works. His old work is very obvious with a more simplistic art style and minimalistic design slash coloring, but still looks very appealing. Couple years later, Ryotomi also directed Yuzakura Quartet. We're mainly focusing on the Hana no Uta one. I don't know if this is like a season 2 or something. I haven't watched the show. But first, in Hoshi no Umi, one of if not his most popular sequence, which is on screen right now, he has a very good grasp on scale and the heaviness feel to it that will also translate to his storyboarding work for the future. But for Hana no Uta, he got the opportunity to direct and storyboard an episode while also doing most of the key animation work. This also showcased that he's not just a good action animator, but also a very good character acting animator. Same as before with Birdie Decode, that's probably also his only time storyboarding an episode, besides another project we'll talk about soon. He's also infamous for animating a portion of the Pain vs Naruto fight. He probably got contacted by Norio Matsumoto, that's a guess by the way, that he got into Shippuden because Matsumoto storyboarded an episode in Birdie Decode, which Yamashita was also animating in that episode, which people called it bad animated. Listen, you can have your own opinions, but calling it bad is just objectively wrong. Wrong. Womp womp. raw. While his beginnings doing endings and openings was quite distinct, the style that he harbored throughout his early days, it's also stated that he was getting discouraged about being a key animator because his work gets corrected by more talented people and that wasn't doing it for him. His first opening he worked on was Naruto Shippuden opening 13. We can see his first take at storyboarding action. If you're a really good action animator, it will translate to your action boards. Yamashita has a great sense of scale, so that leads to very dynamic shots, and the post-processing really captures more of the animation. As an animator before, he mostly does the photography himself. Same as current times, he still does that because he probably wanted to do it. For the OP, he also brought in some familiar faces today, but back then they were not popular. Other webgen animators were brought to this OP, like Keiichiro Watanabe, Shingo Fuji, and Ryu Nakayama. After this, he would come back to direct Twin Star Exorcist, the second OP, which looked different compared to his older stuff, and it's what his style is now. His focus is more on the compositing side, really wants to emphasize the animation, more like with the effects and overall characters. He has this light touch to his post-processing. I don't know how to say it. It's different to Kentaro Waki's and Hiromatsu Chu's compositing. They go more of a realistic with their metallic-esque composite. When it comes to storyboarding and direction, he goes more on the normal type of opening style, with showing characters bam bam, then fights. You know the drill. You know the normies would be like, oh my god, side by side, they're running, reaching to the sky, oh my god, wait. They're having sex? It's not like Megumi Ishitani with her unique ideas and presentation. Yamashita is more lenient on his compositing, his very ambitious storyboarding work, and a really good understanding on the source material. He reads the volumes/arcs that's going to be adapted, like with Shield Hero Season 3, Chainsaw Man, JJK, etc. So for manga readers, they can see the references, or spoilers, or can be also reflecting the author himself, like with Chainsaw Man. Fujimoto loves his movies, so Yamashita referenced a lot of them in the opening. Same goes for the Twin Exorcist OP. He brought in more freelancers/webgen animators with Miso, Takahito Sakazume, Shonen Okido, and the people he previously worked on. Again, his direction and concepts for his OP, it's more or so depicting certain characters on how they see the world, or it can be more than that, giving hints to future events that's gonna happen. Even with his OP, he also does commercials or PVs for games and others. The more popular ones are Blade Smash OP, I think it's a game, and New Journey, which is a commercial or something for League of Legends. I mean, if League looks like this, I would play it. It's not just jungle, jungle, kill, kill, kill. Oh my god, Faker! He was tasked to do the project and also contact some big names in the industry, but he contacted most of them, but they were busy, so he just worked with his usual team, which was still absolutely stacked. But he needed to find more animators, so he went to Twitter, getting more talent. Again, his ability of making such dynamic shots and the post-processing is some of the best in the industry, while also having very capable animators doing the cuts. He can do most of these cuts because his usage of 3D. He tackles around with 3D a lot, using it to map out scenes, whether it's backgrounds, objects, or effects. He meshes 2D and 3D very well, to the point that sometimes you can't even see the CG. He just adds the right amount of textures to it. It's also crazy to think that working on commercials, PV, and music videos, either game related or doing shit with music artists, pays you more rather than your normal TV series. Mostly the working conditions are better than TV stuff. Of course, it's not every CMMV that has better pay, but most of them is better. Before talking about his more popular works, he also directed a certain thing, a certain big franchise that has too much hentai for it. Pokemon Twilight Wings. It's a short ONA series with 7 episodes, only having a 6-minute duration per episode. It was a Studio Colorido produced show. I do think since Yamashita worked with Tatsuru Kawano quite a lot before, and now that Kawano is a founder of a team in Colorido, I think that's why he ended up working with that studio. But most of the people who worked on it was because of Yamashita's connections. He was able to get people like Norio Matsumoto, Warlian Zhang, Kiro, Bahi JD, and a lot more. His storyboarding and direction has a little sense of depth to it. Flawless CG aided shots, and of course big scale fights are something that Yamashita excels at. And again, his strengths as a compositing artist really captures some of the scenery on how beautiful it is. I'm really waiting for a 12 episode series by him, but it will probably take quite a bit of time to do that. His work that most people first got introduced was probably JJK Season 1's opening, one of the most popular animes, and manga readers crying about Gege Akutami's decision making in every chapter. Gege himself said that if JJK ever gets an adaptation, I want Shingo Yamashita to make the OPs, and after 1 or 2 years when the adaptation was in production, Seshimo, one of the animation producers in MAPPA, contacted him to do the OP, and he accepted it. Again, his photography makes everything seem so realistic, and the environment is mostly CG, using a lot of digital / CG effects to help out with some of these cuts. And of course, he brought a lot of talented animators to the OP. I mean, the list goes on and on for both OPs. Some of the action scenes are so dynamic, using wide shots and using the 3D backgrounds to good use. After this, he went on to direct a lot more notable OPs like Ousama Ranking OP2, Chainsaw Man, Urusei Yatsura's first OP, Shiro Season 3's OP, and recently he did Astronauts OP, which looks quite interesting. It has that early 2000 feel to it. I don't want to sound like a broken record analyzing every OP. It's the same as always, very impressive in every aspect of the production. I'm still quite baffled on how good his blending of 2D and 3D is. It's so seamless, I know most normies will not see it, but I do. His influence goes a long way. You have new webgen animators, very popular ones at that, working with him. Of course, if you're a talented director, people will want to work with you. I mean, Vincent publicly said he doesn't want to work with Sotozaki, the director of Demon Slayer, because he's not really the best when it comes to action. But if Toshiki Shirai directed an episode, Vincent might be in Demon Slayer. You never know. That's what separates Yamashita's opening, is that he has massive connections throughout the industry, so that his opening are just not aesthetically pleasing. It also moves a lot thanks to some very talented animators that were brought to the project. You can have cool ideas, interesting storyboards, but if it doesn't move, then it's not gonna look as impressive. Bleach. Okay, I need to stop trashing Bleach. It's also said that Yamashita has his own studio, which is Studio Chromato. I can't find when it was assembled, but Studio Kuromato, or Chromato in English, was credited back when he did the Chainsaw Man opening and the Shield Hero opening. I'm guessing it was back in 2016, judging by his tweets. Recently also Twin Engine established them, and now they have a studio in Tokyo. Yamashita is planning to gather more staff. I don't think that will be a huge problem for him. There was a tweet about some talented animators already with the studio. I don't know if I can find it again. It's no denying in the future he will do the same things and getting other new gen animators to work with him. We don't know what the future holds for Yamashita. Either he will still do openings and other stuff like movies or series. We don't know. Again, SakugaBlog helped a lot with this video, so check the blogs for more in-depth stuff about Shingo Yamashita. Thank you, Kevin. Hope you guys liked this video. If you did, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a like. Comment down below what your thoughts about Shingo Yamashita's openings and other stuff. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you guys next time.